Welcome to the GenZ Show. I am your host, James McLamb, and I'm joined today by one of the founding curriculum writers for Generation Ziglar, Mr. Brandon Baumgartner. How are you doing, Brandon?
Hey, doing great today, James. We just had a great show.
We did have a great show. Who were the guests that you and I got to sit with today?
Well, we had the legendary Cindy Ziglar Oates, and then we had Julie Ziglar Norman, both the daughters of the late Zig Ziglar. Got to hear some great things about this topic called gratitude.
That was a wonderful topic that we dived into,
Yes.
and I've really been excited about this episode and the recording of this. And we recorded it early enough that we had time to edit it and get it ready so that it's dropping today, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So no matter when you're listening to this or watching this, that's when we actually dropped it, right before then.
Yep.
We had a great conversation, a lot of fun, a lot of exciting times. But what was your biggest takeaway from our time with Cindy and Julie?
Well, absolutely love the stories about their dad and how he would go out of his way to show appreciation. One of the biggest takeaways I took away is that gratitude is something that we can initiate on our own. We can take that initiative and watch the ripple effect that gratitude has on our attitude, on our impact, on our environment, on the people around us. It's a ripple effect that can affect a lot of people. I think you'll really enjoy today's show with Julie and Cindy.
Listen, I know a lot of you are probably listening to this and you're thinking, hey, this is a lightweight show here. You're talking about gratitude. Of course, I'm thankful for stuff. But as Cindy and Julie points out, this really is a foundational attitude that affects all aspects of you. Not only you personally, your self-image, but your relationships and just your total outlook on life. This could not be any more crucial. There's nothing lightweight about this at all. And so we want to make sure that you guys do this. Please connect with us on this. Share this episode as you go forward. And if you want to comment on this and comment it on it in the show notes, or you can email me directly at james@generationziglar.com. But let's just stop talking and let's go straight to this interview with these wonderful, beautiful ladies that Brandon and I are so grateful to call friends, Julie and Cindy Ziglar. Ladies, welcome to the GenZ Show. I'm excited about this. I have been wanting to do a special show on this topic of gratitude for some time, and I wanted you guys to be my guest, and so I'm really excited to have you with me. I was just thinking about it yesterday. It is we're going on 8 years now since the first class.
Wow, that's incredible. Awesome.
First class, our first ZLC class was 13, right?
I'm not keeping track. Sorry, James.
Well,
that sounds
I won't say what it is, but which code. But I know that it was 13 that we started because I had used that as a number in one of my passwords at one time before I changed it. So it's always stuck with me that I was there in November of 13. But welcome to the show. Now Brandon and I introduced you to our audience before we started the call, but I want our audience to hear from you guys. So if you guys wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves just briefly to our audience so they'll learn a little bit about you and I'll let you fight it out which one wants to go first.
Oh, I always defer to my older sister. You just had to go there, didn't you? Well, now, as you know, I'm the elder sister of Julie. I'm Cindy. Some of you may know me as the Happy Tadpole if you read See You at the Top. That story's about me. If you haven't, then I'm just Cindy. I'm the middle daughter of Zig and Jean Ziglar. And it is just a blessing to be here. And James and Brandon talk about gratitude. Well, I am grateful for you two and what you do in your message. So thank you for having me.
And I'm Julie. I'm Cindy's younger sister, as you already know. I had to point that out since I have gray hair now, thanks to COVID and no hairdressers for about a year and a half. And I'm just explaining this away. I am the youngest of the three girls. And then, of course, there's our brother, who's 9.5 years younger than me. And we're grateful for him because he runs the company and we don't have to do that. So that's a blessing. But I was Dad's editor for 20 years, and I edited probably 23 of his books. And the first several books he wrote, I wasn't his editor, and they were typed on a regular typewriter, so they weren't on the computer. So when I first started working with him as his editor, I input all those books into the computers. And ultimately, I ended up helping him on stage after he had his brain injury and got to speak with him and do interviews that were a real blessing to travel with Dad and Mom for those 4 years. And of course, we miss him greatly. And Cindy and Tom and I do what we can to keep his teachings alive and keep people growing the way Dad always hoped that they would. And you two are a great example of our efforts. For that, we truly are grateful.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Grateful
it's
for
funny
you guys.
that you mentioned about the first couple of books being inputted on a typewriter. I saw a post today where Ziglar was offering See You at the Top as his original price. And in the comments, there was a lady who had commented and said, I was working for him in the 70s. I'm the one who wrote all this on the electric typewriter.
Wow.
And I thought... So you need to comment on that. You need to go and look that up and see what is going on there.
That's me.
I will.
I can't remember the name and stuff on that, but I thought, yeah, that's kind of funny that you said that. So, Julie, to tag off what you said, talking about the teachings that you want to continue the teachings, one of them is really this concept of gratitude. Now, Gen Z, we work a lot with youth. We work a lot with those who work with youth. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's any mystery or any surprise that you struggle with developing that kind of attitude of gratitude, that they really struggle with that initially. And so I wanted us to have a conversation around that. And I thought the best place for us to start really is here with this quote that your dad is. This is correct because I got it out of the little book of big quotes.
There you go.
Yeah, I got it on that. I'll show that and maybe pop some links into the show notes where folks can get those things. But of all the attitudes we can acquire, surely the attitude of gratitude is the most important and by far the most challenging. I think this is a two-part discussion here. So let's take it at the first part where it says that the attitude of gratitude is the most important. Why do you feel that is the case?
Julie, want to go first?
Sure. I just want to say that Dad felt like that was the most important thing because people who have an attitude of gratitude are going to be naturally happy. The attitude of gratitude keeps you from being in the dumps, staying in the dumps, looking for the worst. It keeps you looking for the best, the positive that's yet to come. And I think the best example I can give of that was when Dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and the doctor said, Mr. Ziglar, I'm so sorry to tell you, you have Alzheimer's disease. And he immediately slapped his hands together and he said, did you know my Lord and Savior has gone ahead of me and he has prepared a place that's so beautiful and so wonderful it cannot even be described. I mean, his very first thought was, what's the next great thing I have to look forward to? He's so grateful he has a place that's unimaginably wonderful to go to and that his Lord went ahead to prepare it for him. Instantaneous, not a bit of hesitation, just out there. Wasn't it, Cindy?
Yes, it was
Cindy
amazing.
was there.
Yeah. It was a sweet, sweet moment for us. And Dad being the most grateful person I've ever known, and he grew up in a large family with a lot of struggles. His father died when he was 5, and all the kids worked. Daddy had his first job at 5 years old. And he developed a lot of strengths and habits, I think, that led to him being grateful later on, because where he came from and the struggles that he went through to get to where he was, he knew then and now and what it took to get there, which made him very grateful. And I read in the Bible, I don't remember what scripture it is, but it talks about that gratitude leads to humility. That if you have a lot of gratitude, you're going to have humility. And I know Julie would agree with me that our father was one of the most humble, if not the most humble men we've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he lived a life of gratitude because of his attitudes. How's that?
That was good, Sissy.
What's good?
Well, I think that youth do struggle with this quite a bit. So it's really the second part of this, when it's the most life changing. How can we help them understand and really acknowledge and accept that having that attitude of gratitude is the most life changing? Because now seems to be such a prevalence of "you owe me" attitude,
Entitlement, right?
Entitlement attitude. Thank you. That's exactly where I was searching for the right word there. Thank you, Brandon, on that. So how can we help them understand that? What do you guys think about how we can help them understand that it is most life-changing?
Yeah.
I think that just teaching them that the grace of being polite and saying thank you and please and being kind, and maybe kindness is easier to understand than gratitude, but what they will receive when they show kindness by being thoughtful with the please and the thank yous, and I appreciate that, is they'll see other people feel grateful, and how that helps them have a better day. So when they see gratitude in others for being treated respectfully, thoughtfully, and well, I think they begin to learn what gratitude is. Mm-hmm. And when something feels as good as helping somebody else to feel better, they're going to get addicted to that. Because helping other people really is where the joy is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have to brag a little bit on FFA, because before y'all came to Ziglar, the leaders of FFA with your background in FFA, I didn't know anything about FFA. But when those young people came to our office, and the first thing they said is, "What can we do to help you?" And also, James, you and Matt, when you were at our training, you were that was you. And it made me grateful that you were just aware and offered. And I think especially the FFA kids, I guess, that are raised that way, they know what it's like to work. Mm-hmm. They know what it's like to see success. And they're grateful. Okay, now I'm a city girl. I don't know about the cows winning at the fair and stuff like that. But when they work so hard on this animal, and then they're rewarded, and they feel, I guess, proud and grateful. So I'm grateful for my kitty back there.
Love how you just did that. That's good.
So I don't know. I think, like Julie said, when you're raised with learn to respect with the manners that FFAers have too. All of them said yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Just so polite. Yeah. And that extends to other people, and then the gratitude starts to swell. You see all that and go, wow, I'm really grateful for this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I had somebody. Go ahead, James.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, I once had a man ask me, why on earth would you make a child apologize if they don't mean it? I said, because A, they should, when they're in the wrong and have been hurtful, they should apologize. And I said, number two, they don't like to apologize. And they'll eventually learn that if they don't do anything to apologize for, they won't have to apologize. But it's about respect.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to learn it if they never have to say, I'm sorry.
Right.
And I don't know if y'all have ever met people who just don't have I'm sorry anywhere in their vocabulary, but it is hard to work with people who never, ever own it, never own anything. And when you're never sorry for anything, it gives you that attitude of entitlement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Brandon
So we
and I
have to
work
teach
with,
them.
yeah, we work with a lot of youth that they still struggle with understanding that they need to give thanks for the things that they have and the things that they, the people that work with them and stuff. But we're also fortunate enough to work with some mighty fine young people who have been raised in such a way that they understand that quite a bit. Brandon, you got thoughts on it, or?
Yeah, I think right now what we're experiencing is a gratitude gap where a lot of people don't feel like they can be thankful. And when we do give thankfulness, it helps us remember the reasons we're here. I was going to ask you guys, why do you think there is such a gratitude gap in my generation and the student leaders generation of today?
That's a good question. Things are just so different now, and I can't really pinpoint it. What about you, Julie?
I'll start immediately. Brandon, I just started thinking about things that were going on as I was raising my children. And I think that probably we were less attentive maybe than, in our times than other parents might have been in earlier past. Plus, we didn't require our children to work. We usually gave them allowance for just breathing instead of doing chores. I think that probably had a lot to do with it. Sure. I know a lot of people gave too much allowance, enough for their kids to really get in trouble. Things just started loosening up. It was different from the late 60s and early 70s, but I just think we were too busy. And maybe our children didn't get enough attention. That's when latchkey kids were really coming in. More and more women were seriously working towards true careers instead of just a little extra money. But I don't know. It just distracted parents more. I mean, I know for centuries that children have been raising themselves when their parents were working so hard, but usually the children were working alongside their parents. And then in our group, I don't think that happens so much.
I think you keyed in on something when you said about the work ethic. When you're having to work for a lot of the things that you have, or you're having to put into effort to get something instead of something being handed to you, you realize how much more grateful you need to be for the gifts that you receive, for the help that you can receive, or just the kindness you receive. Because we're not just talking about gratitude in the sense of, oh, I'm grateful that someone gave me this nice present, or I'm grateful that someone has helped me out of this economic situation. It's just really grateful for life in general, being grateful for the gifts that you have every day going for this. Is that y'all agree on that? I mean,
yes,
I'm rambling here again.
You're on the target there, James. Yeah.
Well, then I have a question. That really boils down to we've got youth that are listening to us. We got people who are helping youth that are listening to us, and they're like, okay, I agree with you. We need to teach more gratitude, but how? How do we do that? What are some tips, some techniques? What are some things that y'all have learned one day that you would like to share with them? Or what are some things that we can do to help younger generations express more gratitude?
Good question.
I have an idea. I think it really has to be intentional, and just a suggestion of, I want you to sit down, make a list, everything you're grateful for, everything you can think of, just make that list, whether it's clean water. Most of us don't even think about that. We just take it for granted. Food, when we have it, it's just so readily available. just make that list and make that
Mhm.
intentional, and just have a time to sit down and do that and go over that list often, add to it,
Good.
just have it in the front of your mind all the time. Okay, what am I grateful for? And when you're aware of it, you start becoming that. You start to
It's good.
feel it.
Yeah.
Mhm. I know that Daddy taught us when somebody paid us a compliment, he taught us it's polite and proper and appropriate to say thank you. Uh, and so it was by his example too, because he was always expressing thanks for and appreciation for positive traits and characteristics that he saw in the people who were helping him. And y'all have heard the stories of Dad chasing down all the military guys in the airport to thank them for their service. We absolutely almost missed planes because he would run so far down there to catch up with a guy in uniform. But I never saw one who got upset with him saying thank you for all that you're doing. And then he'd say, I served in World War II. And, it was just really sweet. But it was heartfelt and it was genuine. And I think that when they see us having gratitude, it teaches them. But you also have to let them know that there are proper ways and times to respond with gratitude. And thank you is a simple gratitude. But also writing a child a note, saying some special thing you've seen them do, a thoughtful thing, maybe helping another child, and just telling them how grateful you are for the character qualities they're showing. I mean, you have to show it by example in order to teach it.
Right.
You have to express it to them personally and individually. And I don't care how many behavior problems a young person has. They have good qualities that you can easily pick out and praise them for.
Yep.
Be grateful for.
Yes.
Let's put you guys on the spot, because when you mentioned about him going in and going after military folks, the very first story that came to my mind is the one that Jill, our mutual friend Jill Helwig, talks about her son learning it from his dad, who learned it from your dad. So are there other examples or stories of people who, maybe even your father or other people, who have taken hold of this principle of gratitude being a great attitude, and how it has worked for them? You guys got something to share? They can get us all excited as we go into Thanksgiving this week.
One of the first ones, and y'all know it, is Daddy used to, whenever he was introduced to new people, if they had a younger child, he would always overlook the parents. Like, y'all don't, but look at this great kid here. And he would say, young man or young lady, he'd say, I can spot a winner a mile away. He said, let's just turn around. And he'd put his hand on their head and just kind of twist a little, and they would turn around. He said, yep, just like I thought, you're a winner. And we meet all these grown-up adults who have never forgotten that Zig Ziglar told them they're a winner, and they adopted the positive attitude. They understood it. He believed it. They believed it. And they're all over, aren't they, Cindy?
Mm-hmm.
See, Julie, you just ruined something for me, because I have adopted that same tactic, and I was passing it off as something, obviously something that I'd come up with. Now people know I stole it.
You can't steal anything that good.
I may have to edit this part out. So you're
going to have to steal it and pass it on, because the kids remember it. Their parents remember it. So many little children, maybe that's why there's some entitlement going on. I don't know, but so many children are just brushed aside with that, out of sight, out of mind, and children to be seen, not heard. Of course, that hadn't been that way, I don't think, it's always going to be that way for some people. But yeah, that's, if you let people know that they're important and that they're valued and that they didn't have to do anything they didn't have to perform. It wasn't conditional. It's just they're obviously a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know
We all are. We're here.
Yeah.
God put us here. We're winners.
Yeah, we're here.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
I love that you guys brought that up. How would you say that gratitude affects our own attitude overall? How would you guys say that affects it?
That's a good question.
I think it's the number one most important thing to feel. I really do.
Yeah.
Because it gives you an all over a general feeling of well-being and
Sure.
acceptance. And when you give, you know, you're the one that wins. It's like I volunteered at Baylor Hospital with 2 therapy dogs for almost 20 years. And I was always the one blessed. You know, I'd always thought, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to talk to this patient, I'm going to help them over here. And, you know, it's going to be so neat. They're going to get to see a dog. And then every day I would leave going, wow, I was so blessed today. And it was only because I was given my time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, y'all know my dogs did all the work. I just held the leash. But yeah, giving definitely gives you that feeling of gratitude that you are able to give no matter what it is. And yeah, I think that's the biggest feeling there is, that overall that gives you a sense of well-being in general.
Wow.
I think this week during Thanksgiving, as we release this episode, I love this quote. I think it just sets us up really well for us. That, you know, the more you express gratitude for what you have, the more you have to express gratitude for it. I think, Cindy, you hit upon that a while ago. Is making up your list of start accumulating the little things, and then you'll start seeing bigger things.
Yeah.
I know many people who struggle with depression, and they make it a habit every night as they go to bed. They have to list 3 things they're grateful for that happened that day, because it keeps their mind on the positive. And they say no matter, one time a girl told me it was just she noticed how bright green a leaf was, and it was just beautiful. And it was like just this connection moment where she just had a bright spot in her day that could be pretty dark. And you just got to think for a little while, and there's always something.
I've heard folks as well who are having relationship problems do that same technique towards each other. And I'm not just talking about marriage relationships. I'm talking about parent-child relationships. I'm talking about co-worker relationships. Yeah. It doesn't make a difference. Where they've just started taking it as a habit, even if the other person was not doing it. They were making it as a habit. What are 3 things or 2 things, or is there one thing that I am grateful for, about, what is one thing I'm grateful for about branding today? He's getting on my nerves, but, what is one thing I can find? So April sends me, she talks about this all the time. What is one thing I'm grateful for?
Yeah. Yeah. They're always negatives. Right. But yeah, definitely can improve a relationship. I mean, that's awesome that you brought that up, James, how we're able to take those moments of gratitude and apply them to the people around us. I've heard it said before that gratitude is contagious. What do y'all think about that statement? Do you think gratitude truly is contagious, or is it something that's confined to a certain individual?
Contagious. 100%.
Contagious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have you ever noticed you kind of want to go and be with those people that are grateful, because it's just
yes.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just a wonderful, happy, grateful feeling of gratitude.
A grateful feeling.
And you'll see grateful people are the ones you see smiling.
Yeah.
They just don't carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're content. They're basically, happy people. And I've been asked, why am I so happy? I'm like, I'm just really happy. I'm grateful. And I have these moments where I get a little down, but I know it's my choice, and I get to I get to think of the things that I am grateful for. And like Daddy said, if you ever get a little bit down in the mouth, Moses was once a basket case.
Exactly. That's
Yeah. He also said if you ever get a little bit down in the mouth, then what you need to do is go help somebody else.
Yeah.
Go volunteer. Go be of help. Serve a neighbor. Just get out of yourself. But you can't stay holed up in the house and get happy with your sad thoughts rotating around in your brain. You got to go distract yourself with good deeds.
That's an important thing but a lot of folks, especially youth, they may not feel like giving thanks.
Right.
And so in essence, what you're saying is that you don't wait to feel grateful. You make yourself grateful. You go ahead and, if you're force yourself to kind of find those things to be grateful for, then it becomes easier the more you do it. So,
good.
I mean, Brandy, you were working with youth yesterday. I mean, I'm sure that there were some of them that were struggling with it as they were.
Oh, yeah. Because in our culture, it's so me focused, right? I love what Matt Rush says. When you take a photo, the first person you see is yourself, right? Because we're drawn to that. So what gratitude does, it shifts the focus from us to other people. And I think it also turns into this thing called servant leadership. It's a huge element. So that we can easily transition to, James. Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm writing this down so y'all can talk while I'm writing this down.
There you go.
Well, what's fun for me when I see, we have deliveries now, right? People come to your house. Well, I always love to go outside and meet them and give them a little extra tip. I've had some of the most wonderful reactions and conversations, because I thank them. I'm so grateful for people like you who are doing this for people like me. I mean, it really is a blessing. But to see their reaction, I mean, it's priceless.
I think it's important what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
It's not always that you have to say that you're thankful for them. You can do it with your actions and words.
Exactly.
Like when you said that this past summer, the guys who were picking up the trash in our neighborhood, it was a scorcher. It was traditional Southern, humidity high, temperature high. I guess it was heat index was over 110, and they're out there, driving around in those trucks with the windows down, dumping trash, which I'm sure is flying back in there, and just. So I went and got some water bottles when I saw him coming down, and I handed the guy a water bottle. The next week, my family, I won't say whose fault it was, but it wasn't mine. Someone in my family forgot to push the trash cans to the right. And I heard the truck coming down when I was in the other side of the house. I was like, oh no. And I went running through there. And when I got to the door to go outside to see if I could meet him beforehand, the guy had stopped his truck, got out, gone to my house, got the trash can, and pushed it out there so his thing could dump it. And I was like, thank you. He's like, hey, man, you're my friend. I'm going to help you out always. And I'm like, what? This is cool.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Like, how did that happen? And all I did was just give him some work because I was like, this guy needs some, it's hot out there.
Yeah.
I know. I like to give the guys who pick up my garbage, I like to give them Christmas money and a card thanking them with money in it. And that joy is all mine. I guarantee you, but they do that all year long for me. People who serve me, like I have to go pick up hay about every 15 days for my horses. And the same man loads that hay every time I go. And come Christmas, I'm loving on him because I couldn't do what he does for me. And, it's just joy. I'm grateful that I can do it. Yeah. Just grateful. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We normally at the end of one of these sessions, we'll ask our guests what's the greatest advice they've ever been given. But I want to ask you guys something different. I think I know at least one of your answers on one of these things. I want you guys to give me your favorite Ziglar quote from your dad, not Tom. Let's don't give any question. And then your favorite book that your dad wrote.
Okay. Well, my favorite quote is, "You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want," because it's so true. And that kind of gives you an attitude of giving so you can get that gratitude. My favorite book was actually Confessions of a Grieving Christian. It's after we lost our older sister, Susie, and Daddy was just so raw and real. It took him, I think, 2 years, Julie, to write that book.
3.
And 3. And it's really sweet. It's powerful. And it's helped so many people on a whole different level because of the grief over losing a child. But anyway, I just liked it because it was so real.
Yeah. I have so many quotes of Dad's that are my favorite, but one of them is "You can't do good business with a bad man," which he was taught by the butcher in the grocery store when he worked there as a young boy. He my favorite sales quote is, "Stop selling, start helping."
Ooh.
It's all, it's about taking care of that other person. When you build a relationship, you don't have to sell. You have a relationship, and you build trust. So that one's real important. But they're all good. I can't find one I don't like of Daddy's.
Good problem.
I use them all.
Yeah.
And they're all inspiring. I have some other let's see. One of the, oh goodness gracious. Oh, it's so ingenious too, and I can't think of it right now. And what was the second part of that question?
What's your favorite book?
Oh, my favorite book. I think my favorite book, just because when people ask me which book should I get that kind of covers the gamut of what he taught, is I usually recommend Over the Top, because that book, See You at the Top, has a whole lot about improving your self-image, attitude, that sort of thing. But Over the Top also has the goal setting and training your mind, and it's kind of the bigger whole picture. And if you read that one, you're going to get it all. If you come from a place where you need help with your self-image, I always recommend See You at the Top.
Yeah, it's good.
But Over the Top is kind of all of it.
There you
Yay! The revised, the 25-year anniversary book.
Yep.
Yeah, we had to.
Actually, let me go off screen here real quick. This is my signed copy there.
Oh.
I see that
Did I get it right?
signature.
Did I get it? Yeah, there. Right there.
Other one. There you go.
Hey, you signed it. Both of y'all signed it. So
Oh,
I
didn't see that. I wasn't expecting
didn't
that.
sign-
Well, that was the book that you guys let us pick out at the very first class.
Yes, that was so much fun.
And so I got to pick. I picked that one out, and then I had you three sign it for me as well. So that one is never. I keep that one in pristine condition. I have the other one that I write and take notes in, and of course I have a whole stack of them out in the storage area that we give to our. Participants when they come through our program. We give them either that one or Born to Win, whichever
Oh, that's great.
one is available at that time there.
Well,
So, Brandon, you got a favorite quote or book? Huh?
Me?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
me personally, I really enjoy The Purpose-Driven Life. That was me by Rick Warren. I don't know if you guys have done that one. Helped me really find my purpose in life and helped me uncover some things that I needed to uncover. I recommend it for anybody that's trying to find their purpose. And gratitude's a great way to segue into purpose as well. So many ways we could go today with this session, James.
how can our audience connect with you guys? They want to learn more about how to be involved with Ziglar, how to be involved in stuff. Obviously, they can come and connect with us at Generation Ziglar, but how can they connect with you guys?
I would just send them to our website, Ziglar.com. And James, 800
There it is.
Our
I don't have the
program.
number there.
Oh, look at there. Yeah, that's the easiest one.
And would you also recommend this book?
Nah.
Well, if parents have children with behaviors, then they might really be encouraged by that book. And if you're a child, a young person, a young adult who's not happy with some of your choices, you might benefit from that book.
Definitely.
Yeah, if you need a little help with self-image and realizing that Jesus loves you really and truly, and it's a good one. It's not in print anymore, but I've noticed that anytime I need one, I can order it off Amazon. They always seem to have them, and they're always in fairly good shape. So it's out there. Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
You.
Thank you for
Thank you.
for being so supportive of what we've tried to do to take the message that you guys have tried to carry on, and our goal always has been to kind of take that message to a new generation, to trying to package it in a way that a new generation can do it, and like-minded thoughts and messages as well.
Thank you.
As we go forward, so I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful that
We are grateful for y'all.
Grateful for you guys.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. That was fun.
Cool. Let's do it again.
Hey, and we're grateful for our audience, for you guys who have stuck with us and have watched and listened to this. Listen, someone you know needs this message. Please share this, like it, comment it on this, and we'll be back again next week with another episode of the Gen Z Show.